Alright gang, so let's learn about metering in this short little tutorial. Just a reminder that everything I say is covered in the notes from this week, but let's get into Ableton and make it a little bit more interactive. So we're going to learn on this track that we actually won the Triple J Unearthed Remix Comp for Rufus Du Sol, and this will be our little mixing exercise for this week. So that's what we're working with, and we're basically just going to be balancing it like last week, panning it, but also learning how to use our meters. So if we switch over to a session view, we can drag down the bottom, and remember we can drag up our meters, and if we click up the top and press Command A, then we can also pull our meters apart or wider. And what this does is it gives us readings or gives us values. So that helps us just kind of gain a bit more accuracy. So you'll notice that there's two different kinds of green volume displayed. So if I just turn down the output here, we can still see the volume. What's actually happening is a meter is just a visual on the volume. So it tells us, tells our eyes what's happening with the volume. And it's really useful as a mix engineer because it can be hard to determine what you're hearing sometimes. So there's two different meters in one right here. There is I'll just turn off my notifications. There is a peak meter and an RMS meter. So a peak meter shows us the fastest, loudest peaks in the sample. And this is important because the peak meter is what actually, or peaks in audio, if I show you here, are what actually cause us to distort. You'll notice as soon as that peak is going over 0 dB, it's going into the red. Okay, so that's why mix engineers care about peaks, because they actually cause you to distort. So we can see that with the thin top, it's always the top and it's always the thin translucent line. So that's our peak. And Ableton allows you to actually kind of see it and test it really quickly with this little peak meter, which resets every time you click it. So, okay, right now I'm peaking at minus 13.2, but if I boost this up a bit, okay, I'm peaking at minus 9.6. And this is something that we will use a lot throughout the course, but I'll explain it on why and how in another video. So every time you click it, it resets and shows you the maximum peak. Okay, so the other kind of meter or the other kind of volume that we need to be aware of and manipulate is actually what's called this RMS volume. And RMS literally stands for root mean squared, which just means average. It's a mathematical term. So the easy way to think of it is it's the average loudness that we hear. So it's the average volume that we hear. And this more accurately reflects how humans hear sound. And so that's obviously why this meter was invented, so that we can have a gauge for how loud it sounds, even though the peaks are representing or impacting how much headroom it's taking up on the meter and if it's distorting or not. So that's peak RMS, and that's it's peak and RMS meters. And throughout this course, we'll use them to get a visual on what's happening with the sound and then make some decisions. That's pretty much it. See you later.